to gear a little bit and go where you met AT and how was the process for you? And you were like, this is where I wanna be part of. Or I don't know what.
So for me, number one, I think at that time, it's so fascinating. So I just finished my final exams, fourth year, second semester. The previous semester, I'd already done interviews with Mandela to kind of like join the community team.
Yeah.
But didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because my dean was not happy about that. That I was getting job offers before I finished school.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, let me just wait a little longer. And I remember just before, just after I finished my exams, I'd met Roina actually. I'd met Roina. We had been friends for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? We had kind of worked together on GDG Nairobi. I'd brought people from Kabarak for the first time to GDG Nairobi. And we ended up becoming very good friends. We went to Nigeria for GDG Summit. And that's when we really, we had a deep understanding of like what we want with community, how Andela was doing it wrong, how Google was doing it wrong, like how if it was in a better environment, we could do this so much better, you know? And surprisingly, Roina now got hired in that conference she met Graham. And then she joined AT in January of 2018. I finished school now in June, and Roina was like, "Bro, come to this place, man. It's dope. This is the place we should be." And I she just told me come for an interview. Did I think 2 or 3 interviews? And within 2 weeks, I was at that time, bro. Like I've just left school. I'd sina nguo ya kazi. Yani mimi nimengo tu za dini za shule tu zile zimechapa chapa za mtushi.
I get you.
So man, like I was coming in like fresh off the boat. I was very lucky as well that my family here in Nairobi took care of me for at least the past 1 year, 2 years. So I wasn't too worried about like rent or stuff like that in the beginning. But my journey with AT was, I think when I look back, is one of the most, I'm really grateful for the experience. The belief, the fact that a lot of responsibility was given to me even when I didn't know
what to do.
I didn't I'm just confused and Bilha, Sam, Tony, man, give me the chance to like run and do stuff. And for sure, man, like.
So you guys, don't run through this. So where did you start now after joining AT?
I was in devrel. I was a devrel associate. Developer, what do we call it? You had many names.
Developer Relations
Developer Success Associate. Or Developer Success. So it was me, Roina, and Graham. We started it out, and it was really fun, especially like those first 6 months for me at AT.
So you guys used to do outreach, or how did you form?
Like
there's this idea you had around GDG that you could borrow, but there's some things that you felt like they could be done better. What are these things, Andela?
So I think the kind of like the idea I came with was like better segmentation to better serve the needs of the developers, right? So it wasn't about anything else. I think that was the grand idea, and also helping developers find jobs. I really felt like that was something that was really missing at the time. There were people doing it, Moringa. There's so many people. But at the same time, like it wasn't. People didn't want to like spend 6 months in school, or they were already good, kind of okay developers, but they just couldn't find gigs. And, and AT had customers calling in every day. Even till today, still calling, asking like for integration support. And
let me ask you this, because this is something that you're working on. I don't know when this will be released, but whoever listens to this, there's something you're working on to like actually this is Michael Kimathi MK. I like to actualize or action on things. So that's what I just joined AT, I think last year May. And there was so much that was happening. So this is a time actually we are settling down, like let's actually work on this, take it to the next level, work on the next thing, take it to the next level. So even I found out these customers asking for devs, they have projects that want to be built. And I sat down and asked myself, what is this process like? So, and I understand now that you say that it's not, even right now it's not smooth.
It's very tough.
Now that process, we want to finesse it to an extent that these actually can scale anywhere. And I'm not talking top tall. I'm not talking because when I look at top tall, guys, sorry for giving you free credit here, but I find there are some things that can be done better. This is from community learnings.
Yeah.
So, for instance, think of a developer end to end. So there's a guy who is a junior or they're interested in this stack. There's a guy who's a senior but they want side gigs. There's a guy who is lost somewhere. They're really good and they're really smart. And they want to find footings where they can work and build themselves. And now think of a customer who wants these ideas. There's one who wants a complex solution. There's one who just wants something to work. There's someone who wants integration. All those are different things. So we want to streamline that in where these people can meet, close a deal, and deliver, and everyone is happy.
Yeah, it's
now automate that.
I think.
That's what we want to do.
That's very smart. I think for me, I think just from my experience, I found it very challenging. I think it took me away from my core, what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I felt that needed a whole specialized department focused on that.
Absolutely.
Because it's, as much as you can automate processes, these are people, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The challenge doesn't become like what tools are available, what is there. It's how people behave, and sometimes there are clients who don't even know how to do requirements properly. So you need someone to bring in someone to help you do requirements. If this client needs like UI, UX, how are you going to get that talent? How do you manage that as well? Project management. So remember, I think in my second year at ATI, we did Decoded. And I think it still can maybe exist in some way or form, but that was our grandest challenge.
Yeah.
It's number one. It's just people management is tough.
Yeah.
It's very different from community and working with the community and teaching about a product. Because when we teach about, like, for example, like AT APIs or Okra APIs, it's very narrowed. Like,
straight to the point.
I'm not telling you about how you're going to deploy your app. I don't care. I'm not giving DigitalOcean free space here. So I'm going to talk about AT primarily. I may mention other things, but just AT.
Yeah.
But when you start working with clients, it changes completely because you have to start thinking about hosting solutions. You have to start thinking about, like, even payments. Even clients who refuse to pay, bro. Like, leave alone the devs not working, but clients completely refuse to
don't
pay.
Want to pay.
Yeah.
They think you are in a free.
Oh my God, bro. Like, how to enforce that? You see, now you have to involve legal now. But now who is the lawyer for AT or for the developer, right? Like, that's how complicated the web gets. So it's the ability as well for I think the system can be figured out. I think Graham has great experience around this as well. So he's the best person as well to kind of like speak on it. But in my opinion, like, it's a tough job for a devrel team to take on. I think it's a job for I'd say an integrations team, a special team that works on integrations. And I would actually prefer, if I had the option, I would always have like internal devs who'd help with integrations. But we charge a premium, bro. Like, we charge you to the end of the earth.
This is something I was thinking behind the scenes, because also I was asking myself, why didn't it work? And actually what you have stated are some of the core pertinent issues. Like here, sometimes it had to pay developers on behalf of the clients. It's not cool because company is losing money. We had a company that actually was formed for that, but it didn't see it through. There are all those learnings, and if you bring them together with your expertise, anyone else's expertise, these UI, because there's a community of UI, UX guys, designers, and put this together in a way that it's a win-win for everyone. But also implement a way that everyone gets paid, because at the end of the day, if you do the work, you should be paid. Be open that, if you bring a project, you're going to pay for it. If you're a developer, you do a project, this is what you expect. So the expectations are quite transparent for everyone, and tell people the way it is. Don't try to sound good.
And the thing is that what I'll just say is, like, this is the challenges of working in the African market. No matter, even if I could tell a client 100,000, that they're like, hey, Buddha. hey, they start negotiating.
The economy is not good.
The economy is not good. Or they tell you, let me pay you 30,000 now, and then I'll finish later. I never finish.
True.
So like I think that's the challenge. Like, how do you? And that's why like you find like a company Oakley. Oakley was focused on enterprise clients.
Yeah.
Because enterprise, you high chances you're gonna get paid. There's like an 80% chance your money will come through at the very least. But some of these guys who are calling in want an app for 20K, right? And they think it's just a thing, right? So even I don't know. It's just I found it very challenging to educate a client. It's very time consuming, very stressful, especially if you have multiple projects running at the same time.
Yeah.
Bro, like that you need PMs, and then now the more people I'm talking about, the more money that needs to be paid.
Yeah.
And hey, bro, and that for me was kind of like we hoped at Decoded we could make software engineering cheap, right? Like we could
That's the
not cheap in that sense. It was kind of like it was affordable for small businesses, right? Like it's less of us saying that we're gonna pay you 20,000. No, it was more of like number one, the first thing we did that was interesting was that we let the developer and the business decide how much.
So
Then we take a cut. We take a cut
from that decision.
From that decision. So that
how many times did you get that cut?
You can ask Graham that story. It's tough.
Because if you're not on they say if you're not on the decision table, you're the menu.
The part of the reason around this was like just the legal complications of it.
Yeah.
I think that was one of our worries at the time, was just like because we had problems. You know, I think in when we were with Graham was still in Devrel, you know, Roina. We used to try and help. You know, we had even some companies that would help us build software, and wahala, dude. You're always called into crisis meetings, either from the client or from the other guys. They're saying they haven't been paid. This client is horrible. They're not responding. They talk to the client. They say, "Bro, now you've become a babysitter,
mediator,
bro." I'm being paid to serve a community and teach them about a product. So I think also the ability to like. I think for me, I think the idea is great if it's able to be figured out correctly.
Yeah, sure.
But I think there should be a special team dedicated to it, working on it full time.
Yeah.
DevRel should do something. DevRel should be a pipeline. Like we just find devs and then we get it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. And actually, this will not be done through DevRel. DevRel is just one, I would say, like 5%.
Yeah.
Whereby, you know, we make sure that the pipeline of devs that want gigs are available. Track that. From the point of like we're meeting guys every day, we're training them, we know how skilled they are, there's hackathons, there's all that. But these all other processes, maybe let's talk after 6 months, 1 year.
No worries,
And I'm sure your expertise or even your connections could really come in handy. But all I'm saying that from reviewing it, it's doable.
Yeah.
Now, practicality of that now, we have to go and test it and see how doable it is.
Yeah, one client a month.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a good client, you're good. If it's a bad client, you're bad. Things will not be so merry.
In trouble.
But so that didn't work out well. Yeah. So what else did you try?
Hi, man. I mean, I think I'd say like it's been a up and down interesting journey. So initially, my primary goal was to eventually figure out how to segment developers really well and to better understand. Should I do it by imagining them as by their language stack, by their skill level, and how do I measure that as well? Like, how do you know someone's a good developer or not? It's a tough thing to do. So kind of like figuring out how that kind of would work, different metrics we could track over time. I think for me, what the best thing I enjoyed was working on metrics that we could track over time. And they changed, but we came up with really fun stuff like that. When I look back on, I'm like, wow, we did that. That was actually quite crazy. Yeah. We should, many times I was like, we should write a paper about this. This is crazy. At Decoded, I think the primary objective there was, there was a primary objective of bringing communities together fundamentally and giving communities physical space, constant physical space, not just I have on Saturday for 3 hours. No, like you could anytime come in, right? Also, I think there was a trifecta that we saw. So we wanted to make sure it's a workplace, so startups can stay. so co-working. We had community. We had gaming and even business events, right? Inviting people over and doing all that stuff. And what that we wanted to do with that was just a melting pot. Because what will happen is you meet startups, what do they tell you? We can't find engineers. You meet engineers, they tell you what? We can't find jobs. So you come sit here for a day, talk to the startups here, you get a job. And I know many people who got jobs like that. It was very successful in terms of like seeing how things cross-pollinated, as well as the gamers as well. Gamers are really fun people. I think one of the big challenges that came was COVID. COVID really changed the dynamic because we could no longer achieve that goal because we had to close down the space. So that was really tough. And we slowly scaled down over time. So that was just so decoded was a good plan. I think even for AT, I think a lot of the lessons that we learned were incorporated back into AT. Inviting devs over, inviting people over, having podcasts like this, becoming not just a tech company writing code and delivering software to clients, but also a place for them to meet and interact.
Cross-pollinate.
Because we are a multi-sided business. We have customers who are paying and we have developers here who are using our product. So we can mix them together and we can get more money out of that, I guess. That was a goal. And I think for many companies that are multi-sided, that's the goal.
For sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And is it this period when Yoda was written, or?
No. So Yoda was written primarily in my second year. I think in my second year at TT. Yoda was a very exciting project when I first heard about it. I think Calvin and Salama and Sam had been working on it chini ya maji for a while.
By the way, there's someone who will hear Yoda like, these guys are talking about what's that movie?
Star Wars.
No. Yoda here is when you come to AT platform, you're able to test things on the fly. You're able to code right there on your browser. And say result. You're able to set things up actually up and running and test them, as well as you are reading the documentation. So behind that is what we call Yoda that makes that magic happen.
One of the things I really loved about being at AT was the engineering team. The engineering team was very brave. Not many companies are willing to build their own documentation platform, not borrowing from because there are documentation platforms you can just copy paste your documentation in. This was completely hardcore, bro. Especially the first version. Oh my god. So initially, what essentially the goal was, we didn't want developers, number one, to have to set up their machines. Because as we were doing outreach, we would spend like an hour or two. People just downloading Python, download. It was quite annoying. So what we decided to do was, what if we abstracted all of that? All you need was an internet connection and you're okay. And we started looking, I think the team started looking into like how to build a backend engine that kind of like spins up a container immediately when you log in with your account, and then when you write code, it executes on the container, and when the code has been run, it kills the container and removes it. But we didn't want to. Very interesting, like specific thing that needed to happen. So your code should not disappear completely, except maybe after 2 weeks. If you haven't showed up for 2 weeks, then it goes. So the different, I don't know if Salama maybe has better stories about like how exactly is configured.
Salama, one of these findings.
Yes, Salama is one of the architects of all of this. And for me, my contribution to it was on the UI UX side. Kind of figuring out, I think Njiri, shout out to Njiri, she did majority of the work on the UX side, kind of like figuring out how everything should
was that Njiri or?
Njiri. She was our UXer for quite for about a year
and
a half.
Was her first name?
I don't remember. I think her first name is
She's at Google now, or
Microsoft as a UXer. She did an incredible job with the platform, thinking about the experience. Matt, also a former person, was here. The crazy UI designer. All that UI, man, is him. And for me, my role was primarily just figuring out the content. How do we put this content together? We need courses. We need to constantly like try and update them and keep them. Like we didn't want to write 100 courses. We wanted to write like maybe we didn't reach 20, but like 20 good courses that were constantly updated and were really good. And you could always come back and learn again, you know. So I think that was our primary goal, and we kind of achieved it. So in the first days, there was no backend to like write the course. So you had to write everything in kind of like, I had a copy of Yoda on my laptop, essentially.
In the low cost.
Yeah. And so I would write, I'd have my own branch. I add the, like all the files, like now like the text for the thing, the code, unfinished code so that someone can write and finish. Right, and also have the finished code as well. It was quite an exhilarating.
That's kind of interesting, yeah.
But then now we would submit a PR, and then Calvo would review, see if it works on his side, and then we now push it. So it was me and another and Liz, who was also here. She was devrel. We did a lot of research on how to people learn online. I think one of the things I've loved about being at Africa's Talking, another thing I've loved is a lot of experimentation. We learned a lot. Like
things work, things don't work.
And things fail. Like the first version of Yoda didn't do so well. People really had complaints. The first day we launched it, people were complaining, bro.
What are those?
Why have you changed the documentation, bro? Where's the endpoints? We were like, oh man, okay, this is tough. So for that second version, now we are taking all that feedback from the V1. We had improved it. We made things much clearer. And I think by the time I think I left, about 500 people a week are doing the course. That's incredible. I think that was a big kind of like validation of how we thought about creating good developer experiences. And that showed up in everything else we did.
So is it now like right to say that, you know, any tech company worth its salt, you should be able to experiment, you should be able to, you know, go there and see if things work? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the engineering feedback that you get from outside, and then incorporate that as you improve.
As you improve, because you're solving a need. And the funny thing is like, you know, before, if you're making like a cup, you make cups as a company. There are very few requirements to try and the requirements of a cup don't change.
True.
Just need to hold thing.
It just
and a good handle, you know, that's it. Maybe keep it warm now, stuff like that.
And longevity.
You know. So like, but for software, it's an ever changing need. Means you need ever changing software. Your software can't remain the same for too long. Eventually it will break. Something will go wrong, or people will stop finding utility in it. So I always kind of try to see it as in the software world, anything we are doing, recording this podcast, they have to keep on changing things because you're going to provide feedback. Like maybe the audio is kind of skipping in certain parts because of whatever it is. So it's ever changing software. And maybe the next version of the software now supports spatial audio. Like now it's like, I don't know, new mics, so things are changing constantly. And I think any software company that thinks like it can sleep on things is dead.
True.
It's a dead company.
Now, besides that, you also ran a couple of initiatives in terms of writing the documentation, tutorials. It's kind of fascinating. That's why actually I met you. Also, there was Ilarian that was being built. How was this experience, seeing that all these, and then you see numbers over numbers coming to check this out and say, you know what, this is cool. I'm using it to like build ABCD, which even you didn't anticipate. People started courses on top of AT and Yoda. How was that?
I felt good. I felt like I never really thought about it. I thought about it after I left, but I think during the time I think that for me was always my concern. Like, how can we improve that experience? That kind of like, can we get more third-party people to start writing? Can we now like let's be involve the community more in our operations so that they're able to like build in public essentially. Like let's be very public about how we are doing things, and just allow people to feel like they're part of the experience. I think Ilarian was one of the first products we did. Like people were involved from the beginning, early stages. Like the first version didn't work that well. We had the backend had to be rewritten. I don't know, this had to happen, and that was okay. And I think it's frustrating when you're in the moment.
Yeah.
But seeing people use the software and come on, seeing signups just go up, and you feel validated that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think I've always said, like, just time is the game. Time is your friend and your enemy at the same time.
Yeah. Depends how you use
It's
it.
a perspective, using and perspective.
Yeah.
Because you can give yourself a deadline, an impossible deadline. Time becomes your enemy.
Okay.
If you be realistic with your goals, time is your friend.
Yeah.
And just allow yourself to learn. I'd played many different roles, learning how to manage, like, just different kinds of expectations, maybe for product, maybe for in terms of maybe marketing, less devrel, more marketing, more devrel, develop experience, and also digging deep into what devrel really encompassed. It's a lot of things. Like, you can't be one. It's difficult to be, like, each one of us has a skill that we have to execute. That's primary for us.
Yeah.
So even being able to discover those as facets of myself, I looked at it as a journey to help AT and Elarian and all these initiatives grow and try something new.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also as an initiative to build myself and try.
As a person.
Yeah, just there's no one who has done anything meaningful without trying.
For sure. Okay. Maybe God. God said,
God doesn't have trisex.
maybe what you are not told, and this is quite interesting, is that before he said, let there be, maybe he had done so many trials to an extent that his belief was that strong that he could say,
to the point where he made it in 7 days, bro. Yeah, that's
though there are some people who say one day, long time ago, was which is now you say time is perception. Yeah. And even how we measure time, I don't know if it's the right way. There's some people who might say maybe that's not the best way to measure time.
No, I think all measurements, it doesn't matter. Even if you measure in feet or centimeters, the same thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all relative.
It's completely relative, and it's, I said, it's just perception. I think our ability to like for example, when as you see your child grow, right? Seeing a tiny baby, when they're born, they look like little things, and then all of a sudden in 2 years, guys are gone. So time is, if you look at the time, 2 years doesn't seem very long. A lot has happened in those 2 years. Now, are you paying attention?
That's the question.
Because I think that's what time asks of all of us. It's like, stop. You don't have to count every second, but are you paying attention in the moment?
Are you present?
Are you present? Just observe, even just observing, bro. You don't have to always be active. You just observe your child, or observe your cat, or observe even your work. Look at your work. Sometimes, sometimes you end up doing so much work, Bana, and you never get time to look back and actually reflect.
Yeah.
Read back on your work. Read back, like, how have I changed? How have I, like, being reflective, present and reflective. I think that's a good thing. It allows you to perceive time. Time moves as time moves.
True.
None of us has control over that.
Yeah.
We just have to. It's our friend most of the time, but it can quickly become our enemy, especially when you're not paying attention to ourselves, to what's going on around us.
Yeah.
It quickly becomes your enemy, because that's why you wake up at your late 40s. Wondering, life has figured you, bro.
Life begins at 40, so they say.
Life started when you were born.
I don't know why they say that, but I can't say I'm not 40, so I'll have to wait.
There is wisdom to it, but it's a special wisdom.
People don't say shit for just saying them. People say things for a reason.
For most people, like 40 is like when you're actually doing well.
Yeah.
Like, if you are generally...
You have a home, you have money in the bank.
Yes.
You're not struggling.
Yeah, like, for most, if you have an upward trajectory, not a sharp one, but just a general upward trajectory.
You're okay. You'll be okay by 40.
Bro, you're now chilling. Like, life is not chapping you as much. But that comes at the cost of, you have to keep that trajectory going.
Oh, yeah.
For some people, they just stop. They think they've figured in their 20s. And that's how, like, there's a lot of people who... may do very well in their 20s, but not keep that going, because you burn out.
You relax.
Yeah, you just stop. You just think you're cool now. And
sadly, the biggest thing that happens.
Time becomes your enemy immediately. It's like, oh, okay. I thought we were working together. Now you think you can retire. Okay, cool. I'll meet you
That
later.
goes south very fast.
Bro. The same way crypto went down.
Now, do we need to talk about crypto? Because that's a whole new subject around here. So, Chief, I meet you at this point where you guys are doing Ilarian, you're doing, the Yoda is not doing that bad.
Yeah.
And now I bring the aspect of community.
Yeah.
I bring everything, I bring all these pieces together.
Yeah.
But not so long. You decide to exit. Huh?
Yeah.
Or not say you left. You exit. Sometimes you exit, you can just come back or you can contribute out there. And we had this conversation offline. It was not that easy for you. I know that.
Yeah.
How was that for you, knowing that, you know what, there's so much that we can do here. There's this big stuff, but, it's time to let go.
Yeah, I think it was it definitely. I mean, and I'm still in love with it. I think it's still this is like a home in a way. I grew up as an adult here, right? I learned how to live life from teen many ways. This was my community, my family. I spent a lot of time here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I one thing you'll notice with me is like I'm always looking for the next adventure. Being at AT for 4 years, I had reached a point where I was no longer experimenting with the APIs as well. I knew the back, the front, I do everything.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't the best programmer, but I knew like what to do with this software, and I was seeing so much potential. And then I asked myself, like, where you're heading to is like you're gonna start just building software now. Like now it's servicing clients now at this point, or you're going to. I think what I ended up realizing is like you're looking for a new adventure. And there's right now where you are, it's going to be difficult to find that thrill. So why not try something completely left field? Left field, bro. Just go and do something completely different. Try something new. Number one, I'd always been interested in the fintech space.
Yeah.
I thought fintech was amazing, but I didn't want to work in like a normal fintech.
Yeah.
I wanted to work for guys who are trying something different.
Yeah.
Primarily API as well, an API company. That was one of my goals.
Yeah.
And I think Okra was a really good choice. Good engineering culture.
Yeah.
Solving a very interesting problem.
Yeah.
With bank aggregating bank services. AT had aggregated telco services.
Yeah.
To this point, to the point where Safaricom sends people to AT to help with stuff. So banks haven't done that. Banks haven't opened up. Banks are not there yet.
Yeah.
They're still, and it's because we don't know what to do yet with financial data properly, especially in Africa. It's very fragmented. There's mobile money. There's banks. There's SACCOs. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not aggregated. It's hard to also get all the systems working properly.
Yeah.
But it's a very valid problem to try and solve in terms of like how can we help startups now not only make decisions based off like interaction data, communication data, but with financial data. The opportunities there are just it's even hard to explain. Like we say this thing where we say our customers are not here yet. We're still waiting. We're empowering banks. We're helping banks digitize and improve their infrastructure with better identity, authentication.
Guys, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
and by the way, we might collaborate very soon because there are a couple of things that we are tinkering with that are gonna actually come down to that.
We're just trying to. I think it's just a very tough problem as well. And that's what I want. I wanted something completely left field. Also in the market, at AT, I think Kenya, East Africa was kind of covered in a way. I'd never really gotten a chance to do something in Nigeria. And I've fallen in love with
how is Nigeria, bro?
I'd say it's an exciting place. It's a land. It's tough.
This is from ignorance, because I'll be going there soon to get the tech makers, the movers, and I don't know if I'll get the guys, the real dudes though, because for me, I'm not always in a hurry to get the claim the cream of who is who. I just want someone who actually really thinks that it can be different.
Yeah,
and they are doing
something.
They're progressively involved, right? I might say maybe let's get the flutter wave, which of course, if it's possible, it's okay. I don't mind sitting down and having a conversation. Or let's get Okra founder or those guys and have a conversation. It's cool, but it has to come. It has to be both ways. I don't like
it's an open conversation,
issues, right?
Yeah.
So this is for everyone. As long as you're Africa and you feel like, I'm an impact master when it comes to tech ecosystem or tech, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So I hear, and this is something I heard from serious people, that there are people who graduate in Nigeria to just sit down and figure a way of frauding people.
Oh yeah, man.
Especially now that you're talking about fintech. It's serious.
Nigeria is a hard place to live.
And bro, there's something I want to tell you today, maybe to go on record. I hope in my lifetime I'll change that mentality. Because someone who sits down and finds loopholes, that's someone who can also sit down and build solutions.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what? Do you know why I'm saying that? I remember there's a book I read some time back, PayPal Wall, that the guys who have built the Visa, MasterCard, all these payment aggregation software and cards, their security comes from Israel. Do you know the guys who built it, they were how old? 15 years, 16 years, 19 years.
Magic.
And these are guys who go to hackathon and they show you this actually can be hacked.
Yeah.
Were they blamed? Were they crucified like we are crucifying our Nigerian brother? And I'm not siding with the fraudsters, because that's wrong, because you also put people in pain and trauma of losing their hard-earned money. But why don't we look at on the flip side, whereby we don't need to punish people? We don't need to steal people's money. We don't need to con people. We build solutions that actually people can pay for.
Yeah, protect people from fraudsters.
Even it doesn't have to protect. They are bounty hunters, right? Who can say, you know what, this thing of yours it doesn't look good. Maybe get 10K free money, which no one will follow you up, and then maybe get hired.
But you see, MK, I think maybe what they're called Yahoo boys, and they're also in Kenya. A lot of them.
Oh, they're there?
They're all over.
Okay.
And you see, for them, their goal is not to be productive.
They just want to chill and hit.
They want to eat that money, bro. Money.
But in Kenya here, their story is not ending that well.
Yeah, but I mean, people die, man. People get murdered. Things go south.
Still from one wrong guy.
Yeah, I mean,
just one.
and that's why I'm saying, like, it's oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not for. I mean, Nigeria is a very difficult place to live.
Yeah.
Especially it's 200 million people plus. Lagos alone is like 26 million people, bro. You can feel it. Like when you're in Lagos, you feel
the heat of people.
People are there, man.
Yeah.
So it's about. It's just tough environment.
Survival for the fittest.
Yeah, and some people have to resort to very sad means to take care of their families, or even just to buy the next Mercedes. Because there, I mean, you see people driving Ferraris, bro. People driving Ferraris on terrible roads like here in Kenya.
More terrible.
They're driving Ferraris and stuff, and people. Nigeria is a very wealthy country. I mean, there are people there who make a lot of cash, but there are people as well who. Maybe do it in very fraudulent ways, and I think it's challenging to try and address. I think that's an issue I can't even speak on properly, because
true.
You have to be there to really feel like people are on the grind. Like in Lagos, just generally Nigeria, I feel like you really have to push. Otherwise, bro, you're in a slum. There is no other way.
I'm not in dispute on that. And I'm not saying that before. I'll try. To be honest, I'll try.
We have to try.
And I know if we hold Putin and even if you involve those guys without judging them and everything, they can tell you ultimate solution. Yeah. Maybe if it's a Mercedes you want, maybe if I show you a better way of getting a Mercedes, I'm not sure you'll say, okay, I'll leave a better way and go to the other way. because I've seen it happen in Kenya, by the way. For the last 10, 12 years, I've been around here over a decade. I've seen it change.
Yep.
When I started this thing, bro, I don't know where you are, but
man,
there were guys who had nothing. Yeah. Zero. They couldn't even tell what they will have tomorrow.
Yeah.
But right now, they are really doing good in a good way, right? So I believe, and I'm not saying that, Kenya, you're doing so well than anyone else. No. All I'm saying is that it's better off than when I got involved.
I agree. I think one of the things, my team was around in October, and they said one thing they noticed about Kenya, we have systems. Like people are in the airport, there's one line, you have to follow the line, there's no running around. We are generally more organized. Our government is a bit more organized than theirs. So like in Kenya, you can make money not easily, but you can push like in the private sector until you get to a good place, right? There it's very different.
Like there is chaos.
The government is just not where our government is at yet, right? So they're still trying to figure that. Have elections next year. They just need to keep on figuring it out. I think we have so many. I think in the East African side, I think there's a lot of stability as well. As much as like we've had our issues before, generally we're quite stable. Our rate to the dollar is good. Our economic side isn't too bad. It's not doing well, but it's okay. Like for example, in Nigeria right now, I mean, there are no dollars, bro.
Yeah.
None.
$0.
None, bro. If you see your purchases on Apple Music, like your card gets charged. See, it's charged in dollars, then converted to shillings by your bank. The bank doesn't have dollars, so they can't charge.
It has to be Naira.
It can't charge because how is it going to send the dollars to Apple? You don't have the dollars.
As you speak. Yeah. And the year Ghana also is downhill.
Yeah, bro, it's tough, bro.
But let me tell you something, Lima, now that you speak. We have time in this world. We have enough time in this world. And we can be wrong. I'm not saying like it's magic stick. I feel like now that we have over 70% of youth across Africa, it doesn't matter where you look at. And I heard the other day Morocco was, saying, we won this and we are Arabs. Let me tell you, as long as in that, whatever you call map of Africa,
you are here.
You are African. Don't get it twisted. If you're in Africa, most people are young, and young means that we can change the paradigms.
Yeah, we can
if we want, if we're intentional, and if we know how it works, and we don't need to feel like this worked here may not work there. Because I've seen a lot of commonality across African countries. And the only secret is for us to collaborate. If you have maybe, say, Okra, right, for instance, or ET, and ET actually has been proponent of empowering developers, just developers. Imagine if banks said, or fintech said, we want to empower whole, I don't know if it's accountants or CPA graduates or whatever, and then they have that movement. Maybe lawyers, they say, you know what, we want to do law the best way possible. Even actually other people should come for the jurisprudence from Africa. Doctors, they do the same. Everyone else actually do their part. In 10, 20 years from now, bro,
things will be different.
Totally. Because people will have something to look at. One thing I think we make mistake a lot, and I think that's what you're addressing, is that we give our politicians too much credit. Whereas the intention is not maybe pure. Some of them, I'm not saying, some of them actually
some
want
of them
to
are
serve,
good guys,
want to really bring difference and do some stuff, and they try. But most of them, maybe even they don't know what they're doing. Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe they just there, they wanted to be there, they became whatever it is they were voted to become, and they're like, I'm already here. What else do you want me to let me enjoy, right? Because even we see even in the laws that they pass, the way they manage resources, the way they relate, the way they get these properties out there, they don't have our interests at heart. And I'm saying this because I know if we do this right, there will be enough for everyone. Yeah. Africa is rich. Africa is not rich. Africa is wealthy.
Yeah.
By all measures. So, and we can actually learn from all these other economies that are thriving. Yeah. Because as much as they're thriving, and this is my take, this is my opinion, so this is my personal opinion. Is that I feel like they didn't do it the right way. There are a lot of lessons that we can learn and do we might not get there, but we might, maybe if they were 60, we might be 85, which is good. Maybe Asia, if they want to improve, or even these steel economies can improve from that, and we are better off as a society, as people. Yeah. Because this is our world. I've come to figure this out with the climate change. People are realizing, so if I cut a tree in Amazon or in Congo forests, it's gonna affect everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm not isolated. I'm not living in my own vacuum.
Unique.
Yes. Among as many other things. Yeah. Like now, I don't know, the tech meltdown where people are getting fired left, right, and center is because of maybe COVID. Who knows?
Yeah,
you understand?
There are good reasons.
So if you think about all those things and bring them together, we need to be more collaborative than competitive.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we figure out Nigeria alone, 200 million people.
It's a crazy market.
Africa is changed forever, my friend.
I think there are all these Congo. Congo is also a really interesting place. Wealthy in resources. All this comes down to like the relationship between the government and the private sector. And if the government makes it easy for businesses to exist and for development to occur, then things are fine.
True.
But typically, like if you look at Kenya, like because of stability for the past 10, almost going to 15, now we're going to go to 15 years, hopefully, if nothing changes. Yeah. They'd be ridiculous development. Yeah. Peace, stability. These are things that I think are it's a treasure. Yeah. It's something that Africa just needs at the moment. Yeah. Is even for Nigeria, letting go of identity politics, like all over Africa rather, I wouldn't even say just Nigeria specifically, but letting go of identity politics, being more focused on development, growth, innovation. Yeah. We have that's what the young people are here for. The young people are here,
and they're energetic,
and that's the energy. They have the energy. Yeah, they can do stuff. So, so this for me is really, for me, it's just the government and private sector working together really well. Yeah. However they do it, because I think there are different ways. I mean, I think each country has to figure out its own way. As much as we collaborate and share these policies, I think there's always that historical kind of like people just like, it's like your home. As much as you love your neighbors, it's still your home. So so yeah, just I think preserving our cultures, our history, while at the same time being friends. Like being friends just means, man, like if one country is doing something really well, don't create like horrible policies to work with other people. They're just things, some animosity around like the trade, like our trade partnerships is quite horrible. Like I mean, the Shenzhen, the EU essentially allows things to flow freely between itself. It may have its shortcomings as well, but we can learn from these things.
For sure.
Yes, they did that one wrong. Okay, we can correct it like this, or try this different system. Also, I think what I'd encourage is like us thinking for ourselves. Observe, but think for yourself. I think sometimes that we are guilty of copy-pasting.
True.
We need to stop that. We just need to like just think, even just in everyday life. You can see people do things, but go home and think for yourself on how you're going to pursue. True. Yeah, because not all of us have the same resources, same background, same what. So just coming up with unique solutions for ourselves, and we should be fine.
It's gonna work out. Because at the end of the day, where we are not at a good place, and we have been there for some time now. Yeah, and I feel like, when we were growing up, you're told you are the, I don't know, the future. Yeah. You're the leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow is now, bro. Tomorrow is yesterday. Yeah. So how can we do this and do it the right way? And this is a challenge for any person who calls themselves youth at this point. And I think anyone who is below 50 is still youth. And they can relate to some of these things. All we are saying is that, can we leave this world a better place? Yeah. Now, Limo.
Yes.
Last but not least, what's the future
for me?
Yeah.
I always think about it. I typically try to stay in places for a good period of time, so that I can deliver impact. I don't think 6 months is enough time to learn anything anywhere.
True.
So I think I might be still at Okra for some time, help out on that side. I think it's a good mission. Maybe in future, man, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, man, I'd love to get into this electric vehicle space. Really nice. Seems very interesting. I'd love to learn how they work. Is it possible to one day build a factory here? Those are just some of my random thoughts.
It's going to happen, man.
But
it's going to happen.
Yeah, I always say the thing is just plant the seed in your mind and you'll be directed over time. I don't overthink it, but I think at this point I'm less concerned about like finding my next place or anything else, but just trying to learn a whole new set of skills, especially around leadership, becoming a better leader, becoming just kind of growing in that area first. Then figuring out what the next step will be, because I feel each phase of development is like you just have to figure out what you're achieving. I think at 80, I achieved just something really special. Growing a nascent, there were not many devrels when we started. Like no one was there. Now devrel is a whole thing. People want
there weren't APIs when it started.
Right, So it's been a growth. It's serious growth. I've had the chance to like start a company. Even if it didn't work out, it was fun. And I learned a lot. I had a good chance to like see a product grow from 0 to 100 users even. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now for me, I feel like maybe the next step is just learning how to be a really good leader. And then from there, I mean, I guess I'll figure it out when the time comes.
Sure.
But as I said, I think I'm really fascinated by the EV space. I think cars are the next. They're gonna be as big as smartphones. Cars are not big yet. People think cars are big now. We are all driving around ancient tech.
Same as aeroplanes.
Very old. This is old technologies, but it works. It's good. Internal combustion engines are amazing. But I think now, even when you're looking at the newer cars, like all these new cars, it's half computer, half machine. Right? The engine is slowly being reduced. It's more battery, more powertrains that are battery operated. So that's what I want. I think that's a good thing. And what's fascinating to me is the interfaces, the software, man.
The UI.
Oh my God, bro. Like that's the next evolution for like experiences. Because
when you say this, you remind me something. That's what I'm telling you. Africa is possible. Africa is possible. There's this person I met. I don't know if she's okay if I disclose her name. But I met her in 2018 in Kisii University. Guess what she's doing right now? And just through community, she asked me a very important question. Like, what can I do to have as much impact as I see you have? I'm like, I have no idea. It looks maybe easy or it looks interesting, but it takes a lot of courage. Decide not to work for anyone. Be an entrepreneur and reach out to developers. No one actually is paying you to do that. You just do that out of over years, for over a decade. And I said, I don't mind if you want to take that route, but you have to be really intentional about community. Guess what? She was intentional about community. She started communities around different languages that are really interesting. She coded. She did all this kind of stuff. Guess where she is right now? In Germany, writing EV software. So when you talk about EV, it's possible.
It is.
Right? So, and I'm excited for that. There's something I meant to ask you before we conclude this. Chief, you didn't mention album. I know there's an album that you're supposed to launch.
I want launching.
There's gaming,
There's a lot of stuff that I just do on the side that's my expressive side. I think after spending a bit of time kind of just growing as a person, I was like, maybe this music thing I can keep it. I can keep it as a private thing, like just for my enjoyment. I feel like sometimes it's I don't want to run many businesses at once. Now starting Spotify, I'm looking at metrics.
But you can just be pushing it on Spotify, SoundCloud, and just whoever finds it.
I'm not.
You know.
I'm not ready for that just yet.
Are you afraid you'll be called for a gig and you're like,
No, I won't even go for that. I won't even respond. I think for me, I wouldn't want to be a performing artist. Just making music by myself, and then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, yeah, neither too. It's the same thing like graphic design, game development. It's always fun to write, to try something new. I haven't progressed as much on the gaming side. I think it was, I tried to build a battle royale game, and then I realized making the initial stuff is easy, the mechanics, but now getting like the right graphics, drawings and all that stuff is quite hard.
The logic.
The logic isn't hard because it's code. You're writing code. But I think now kind of like figuring out how to get like all the right textures, all the right. It's a lot of work. I appreciate game developers a lot.
I wanted to tell you, bro. You know, I started with BlackBerry platform, and gaming was part of it. And you know, with low level language, it's kind of smooth.
Yeah.
My man, gaming is actually one of the most complex computing side of things.
Yeah.
So I have so much love and respect for guys who do gaming fully.
That's a hard space to try and I think one thing I think I'd say is kind of like, I'm also not trying to go commercial with anything. I think that's also an interesting thing for people to maybe try.
Yeah,
you don't have to go commercial.
It's not all about
just try.
Yeah.
See how hard it is, so that when you see a bug in a game, when you're playing your PS, like you empathize with the engineers who are probably suffering from network issues or a bug that's just funny. So I think it's helping me empathize a lot more. I empathize a lot more with game developers. I hope to see maybe I don't think we are there yet, but hopefully in future there'll be really good indie studios. I think there are a couple around, but they're not there yet. It's really tough building a game, launching it, getting licensing for music, for the sound. I was like, these guys are suffering. But I think it's a good skill to even try and learn how it works, how it even gives you a different way of thinking about code. One of the things, one of my theories is that like right now, in electric cars and like Tesla and Mercedes, they use Unreal Engine for games to build their interface. Yeah. Right. So it's gaming may find you can learn how to maybe work with Unreal Engine so that you can maybe find new ways to kind of work with that, create really beautiful graphics. Yeah. We are no longer in the analog digital like thing there. Just looking at it, you're like, hey, after in nature. Like. We are now we're now in a space where everything is interactive. It's aware. And intelligent. Yeah, so I don't know about the metaverse yet, but I know that it's like that game engines are going to become as big as mobile apps, what mobile apps are now. They're going to probably replace a lot of services that people, because like the digital avatars, like a lot of crazy stuff that you can work on those engines. So.
And the AI is catching up.
And the AI is also getting really good. So like all these technologies are kind of going to turn into a crescendo of like interesting things, man. Like I think the next 5 years will be mind blown by what will be available for people. And the pie is not getting smaller. In fact, the pie is getting much, much bigger.
Abundance, bro.
Abundance is coming, bro. So the companies like even like AT, we've been running for 12 years. I mean, revenue only keeps on, I think, generally trends upwards. Things are tough sometimes, but generally trends upwards. There are more API companies, more people doing what AT is doing. Yeah. But it doesn't mean money is being lost. That's the craziest thing.
Yeah. There's enough for everyone.
Yeah, people will still pay. There are new companies coming. These new kids want different things. They don't want to drive funny cars. They want like new experiences. How people listen to there's a lot. Like if you think about like what could be done, I think that's where I get the most excited. Like that's where what I'd want to do in my 40s. Is really now maybe not as a developer, but maybe help start companies that kind of solve some of these new challenges, experience challenges.
Amazing stuff. So, Limo, give our viewers, our subscribers, a parting shot from the man himself.
I've heard some really cool quotes today, so I think there's the first one I heard is like there are no bunk beds in the graveyard. You go in alone, bro.
Allah.
That's a good one. But I think for me, my parting shot is like for everyone to keep on experimenting, keep on learning, never stop trying new things. And not just bad things, bro. Do good things. Don't do drugs, man.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Okay. Yes. That was amazing conversation. Raw. We keep it raw all the time. And one of the things that actually comes out of this is that how much we have as Africans and how much we should learn from each other. And actually the most important thing is implementing that learning and ensuring that every day, every single day, we make it count. It's your hosts, one and only Michael Kimathi, on behalf of Impact Masters Podcasts and Impact Masters Media in collaboration with Africa's Talking Podcasts, bringing you this live and direct from Nairobi, Kenya, each and every day. See ya.